already. Show you the next three little pentatonic shapes up the neck. And you know, one of the things too, oh, good morning. Hey, Holly. Hey, Bruce. You know, and you guys are not under any obligation to be here every Monday. Even if you're home and you got nothing better to do, the admins don't need to be here every time, just so you know. It's great to see you, but I don't want this to feel like a chore ever. So I know you're more here to talk to everybody and not to see me. You probably have me on mute. You don't even know what I'm saying right now. Hey, Eddie R., what's going on? Good to see you. Jan, good to see you. 6'9", good to see you too. I should have done, I'm sure that somewhere I have, and my video is a little off. There we go. I must have accidentally moved it. Let me click away from it so it's not highlighted so I can do that again. I'm having a hard time getting my camera kind of at the best angle this morning. It's kind of its own camera, and I'd pick it up and show it to you, but then it would just be showing you the screen. It wouldn't work. But it kind of has this weird kind of clamp on the back, and it doesn't really, it's hard to kind of get a good angle on it. So this shirt is a little loose. Good. So I probably should have, like, I'm sure I have them probably on a hard drive. I can drag them over here. The pentatonic shapes that we need. And I can do that. They may not have frets on them, fret markers. I may actually get rid of all that information so it's just the shapes. But we did, for the A minor, we did the A minor pentatonic here, I call pentatonic number 1. And then for the E minor, we did pentatonic, that would be pentatonic number 3. And that's the only one of the 5 pentatonic shapes, or the 5 minor major pentatonic, it doesn't matter, they're both major and minor. The 5 shapes that has an actual shift, and it's actually played over a 5 fret range instead of a 4 fret range. All the others are kind of encapsulated in 4 frets. So you don't have to make a shift. But in pentatonic number 3, in this case, E minor pentatonic over the E minor 7 chord. You have a slight shift. And that shape ultimately should be familiar, even though we have a shift in it. It's the same notes as that. It's the B, D, E, G. Happy to take questions too if anybody's got questions. Hey Don, what's going on? Gary Book's in the house again. Good to see you, Gary. I had a great Father's Day. Beth is out of town. The boys came over Saturday morning, and we went to see Mission Impossible, which was pretty much exactly what you'd expect. My wife gets so mad. She wasn't there. She's out of town visiting her mom, and she gets so mad on TV shows. We were watching Slow Horses, which is a really good show on Apple. Slow Horses is very good. But she just gets mad when these 110-pound women take down these 250-pound men. I don't care if you're an MMA fighter, and if the other guy, the 250-pound man, has never fought a day in his life. It's not a fair fight. He just sits on her and he kills her. It's like she gets so mad with it. And there was a lot of that kind of stuff going on in this movie. And I'm like, I'm glad Beth's not here. She would just like roll her eyes. But it was fine. It was long, 3 hours with trailers. Actually, more than 3 hours. 3 hours and 10 minutes, 20 minutes. God, it was long. It was stupid long. It started at 11:45 and we got out of there at 3:05. What is that? Yeah, that's 3 hours and 20 minutes. But it can't be that many trailers. I don't know. And I never stick around. It's funny. Alex, his wife, I think she insists because she works as an actress. She insists on staying through all of the credits. Kind of like, hey, they deserve for us to see their credits, and I'm like, yeah, they got paid, right? That's all they care about. I think the first time I ever had a movie credit, we all hung around and watched until my name showed up, and that was fun. Murderbot's pretty funny. Yeah, Murderbot's not bad. How many episodes did we get in? We got sidetracked. I tried watching Stick. It's okay. I'm just kind of going through all the Apple stuff. The cool thing about the Apple TV stuff is you can turn it on and off. So, like, if you turn it off, you get the rest of your month for, until the anniversary date. And then you can turn it on at any point, which is kind of cool. Right from your phone, it's super duper easy. I had Peacock for a while. I got rid of Peacock. Ballad of Wallace Island. I'll have to check that out. There's so many. It's like we're just right back to cable now, right? We're just back to cable. What you're paying for all the streamers is more than what we all paid for cable. We're like, I'm cutting cable. I got Netflix. And it's like, no. Somebody ran the numbers and it's like, we're paying more. I don't have cable. And we're paying more for all the streaming than we did. And the thing is, the companies are getting off easier because they don't have to pay as much royalties on streaming as they do on broadcast television. So then Alex and I played at church, and then we came back and we ordered pizza. And what did we watch? Oh, we watched Sin City, which is, I don't necessarily, it's really bloody and quite a bit of nudity, but it's a kind of a cool film. It's the film noir thing that was all black and white with some color in it. I finally watched Reservoir Dogs and on Peacock Plus. No, not on Peacock. Sorry, on Paramount Plus. So I swear I'm spending more on all that stuff. And it suggested Sin City, so I just let it play, and I was like, oh yeah, Beth and I saw this like 20 years ago, so it was pretty good. Department Q, huh? Yeah, we finished Slow Horses. I mean, as far as they're doing more seasons, I think was really good. Murderbot, we're gonna check. We're gonna keep going. Andor is excellent. Yeah, we've been watching Andor too on Disney. But the first season, it's slow, but it's good. And then second season, I hear, is better. So, all right. We could talk about this kind of stuff all day long. Let me see if I have the images I need for the Pentatonic stuff. I mean, surely I have them somewhere. Now I've got the big full things. Let's see. I've got the, you know, the 15 fret versions. I mean, I suppose I could chop those up. Let me just see what happens if I do this. Really? Weird. Okay. So here's one. I can. Yeah, I can make this work. I think. I should be able to make this work. Save. All right, then grab the second one. You'll see what I'm doing in a second here. Yeah, this will work. Just making sure I'm doing it right. Because I have room to put these over there. And this one. Save. And then the last one. And then once I put these up here, you can do like a screen grab or something. Okay, I'm going to start with the ones we did last week, okay? And they may be kind of large to start. Let's see. Well, not too bad. All right. There's that one. And that's the A minor, all right? At the 5th fret. That's where I don't have fret markers on here. The E minor one is this one. Come on, adjust. There. I make it a little bigger. E minor is the only, like I said, the E minor is the only one that's a 5 fret pentatonic. And then the D minor shape is here. And we'll drag that right here, okay? So if you look at the top 2 strings, you can see the snippets on the top 2 strings, and then if you want, you can see the snippets. So these first 2, the top 2 ones are at the 5th fret, and then of course this E minor one right here, hard to point, goes down to the 4th fret. But most of it's on the 5th fret. Oops. Back. Okay, now don't forget we can use technically over A minor, the E minor pentatonic sounds kind of cool, right? In fact, let me just grab A minor chord and only that. And just so you know, if you're not on Discord, on the Discord join link is right there, and I put this jam track up there, and among others. There's A minor. Now, one of the reasons it's great to use pentatonics for soloing, and then to find like neighboring pentatonics that kind of work, and you can play over the chords, is because the pentatonic shapes are so guitar friendly. 2 notes per string. I mean, the least friendly of them all is this pentatonic number 5, which I'm using right there. But again, if you're just using, and even if I go up to the 12th fret to play E minor, even if I go there, so all the licks, all the speed I can do in pentatonic number 1, I can do up at the 12th fret in E minor in pentatonic number 1 shape over the A minor, and it creates it gives you that beautiful minor or major, you know, that second tone, the B note. Now there's no third in this scale, and you could combine the A minor pentatonic with the the A minor pentatonic with the E minor pentatonic. I'm talking faster than I'm thinking. And then you end up with a 6-note scale. Because if you look down here, right there, boom, you can see A minor pentatonic has 4 of the notes that E minor pentatonic has. Same's true. These are the same true for D minor pentatonic and A minor pentatonic. Now, E minor pentatonic and D minor pentatonic do have some common tones, but they have less of them. They have 3 instead of 4. All right. But A minor is only 1 note away from the other 2 pentatonics. That's why when we did this snippet here, we only had to change 1 note. So we go from A minor to E minor. Nothing changes there, because these are the 4 notes they have in common right here. So I'm doing the 2 in this column here, the bottom one and the top left one, and then here. Okay, you get a little muddy down there, so. And then if I were to go A minor to D minor, at no point in this song does it go D minor to E minor. So you don't really have to play those 2 pentatonics across from each other. Sorry, I am not seeing the chat. Here we go. Hey, we're getting some people showing up. And I never promote this. I should post on Facebook, Twitter, even Instagram that I'm going live. I never do this. Maybe I'll create a slide that I can just upload to Instagram. Well, I have to create a link. I can do that, right? I don't know. Okay, so let's see. How else to stay? Oh, somebody asked about my new person here. Hey, Tom. Short question. How would you describe the rail pickup sound compared to the single coils? Rail pickup is basically the idea is it's a humbucker in the size of a single coil. I probably, you know, the purist would say it doesn't sound like that. In fact, it just depends on the humbucker, because if you have a low output humbucker, it could be quieter than just a standard Strat pickup. I think my 59 PAF reissue pickup that I have. Originally, when I got it, I spent it was like $200 or something. I was like, oh my gosh, I got this cool, pickup, and I took it to the guitar guy, and I had my Les Paul, and I was like, put this in the bridge, and he's like, you mean the neck? And I said, no man, this is like the good sounding pickup. Put it in the bridge, and he's like, okay, and he put it in the bridge, and I realized, wait, like the neck pickup was hotter than the bridge pickup, because the whole point of the 59 Les Pauls was the pickups weren't like over wired, they were perfectly wired, and you can get pickups that are much hotter, obviously, and so this one was less hot than the one that was in my 88 Les Paul. I think it was an 88 or is. And so then I eventually had my tech swap it out to being the other way around. He was like, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be, man. And he was right. It's like that neck pickup sounds really good. The bridge pickup, it's less relevant because typically when you're on the bridge pickup, you know, you're cranking it. And so the funny thing, though, is that when I tend to go to solo, even with that much gain, I tend to shift over to the neck pickup because I like it's got a little bit rounder, more hollow sound or something. But the neck pickup, I mean, the bridge pickup definitely is better for harmonics. So, anyway, back to my Pat Metheny sound. And now for something completely different. Let me do all the shapes. All that. So I'm going to do the top two scales now. And so now I won't have to leave the 5th fret at all. Okay, now we're going to go down to the 2nd and 3rd string. And try to change whenever the chord changes. Down another one. And this, we don't have to change here, the middle 2 strings. That's that part where they share all 4 notes. And there's 2 roots in there too. Down to the lower. Then we're going to go. Five, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7. 5, 8, 5, 7. Now go down to the bottom 2 strings. Over the A minor, then the B minor, D minor. Okay. And that's a great little exercise you can do with your pentatonic shapes. And so, just so you know, we only have 5 pentatonic shapes, and we're using 3 of them right here. All right. Now, if I move up here to the next position, the A minor shape is going to be here. Okay. Again, we don't have a shift or anything, but a lot of times when I play this pentatonic number 2, I do a shift, kind of like how George Harrison would, you know, the box thing. You could be a kind of a purist if you're going to play in one area. You could use your 2nd and pinky, your middle finger and your pinky finger there, if you want. But if we're going to do snippets, you don't necessarily have to. Okay, so we will not have this one. So let me boop. That one I'm going to get rid of. Remove. Yes. All right. This one is going to be for the E minor, so I'll leave that there. This one we're not going to use, right? For D minor, yeah. So we're going to use the other two shapes plus one of the original shapes. And this is probably going to be the case as we go up the fretboard. I'll end up eliminating two of the ones we just worked on and bringing in two others. All right, so let me get rid of this. Remove. Don't need that. Okay. Now I got to go back to my folder over here and find. Okay. So the D minor one. Okay, close. Man, I have a lot of windows open. The D minor one is going to be this one. And then the, let's see, oh, this is the one I need. This is the A minor one. Okay, cool. So this will be the first one, and this will be this D minor. Okay. So these are all going to be at, and we have no position shifts. These are all going to be at the 7th fret. Okay. So we're going to be camping out at the 7th fret. Again, the whole point of this is to kind of really, get to know your pentatonics, and then to be able to play in one position over changing chords. Okay, does this make sense? You know, I could play over any chord progression and keep it within 5 frets. You know, we could even be, you know, giant steps where I need the key of B, so I could, you know, I could do, and then I need the key of E flat, which is right. I need the key of G. Basically, those are the 3 keys you kind of need to be able to play in over giant steps. You know, I could probably stay in this position and play over the whole progression. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do it because it's hard AF, and AF stands for AF stands for as foretold. So from now on, somebody told me that, or I saw a meme somewhere that that AF stands for as foretold, and now that's all I think. So, okay. So the 5 shape, or the 3 shapes that we're going to use here. Okay, over the A minor, we're going to use this shape. And here we go. Ready? Start again. Your first finger is going to get the 7th fret. We're going to be in the 7th position. So your first finger is assigned the 7th fret. Your second finger is assigned the 8th fret. Your third finger is assigned the 9th fret. Your pinky is assigned the 10th fret. That's called position playing, and you're assigned at this point for all 3 of these shapes. You're going to be at the 7th fret, 7th position. So, but we're going to start on the 8th fret on the bottom string. We'll go 8, 10. 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. Okay, so 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. Backwards, 10, 8, 10, 8, 9, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 8. You could do a shift, like I said there. Okay. Now, the next chord is going to be E minor in this progression. And so the shape we will use there will be the shape that we used for D minor down here. Okay, so we just did it. And this one's going to be 10, 8, or sorry, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 7, 9, 8, 10, 7, 10. Okay, again, 7, 10, 7. Here's our root. There's an E note. 7, 10, 7, 9, 7, 9, 8, 10, and then 7, 10. Backwards, 10, 7, 10, 8, 9, 7, 9/7, 10/7, 10/7, 10/7. You might want to end on that note. It gets a little muddy down there. All right. Hey, Flort, what's going on? Flort, what's going on? Just joined. How are you all doing? My question is a little off topic, but how the F, as foretold, do you use compressed pedals? Recently got there's so many ways to use a compressed pedal, but basically what you want to do is put it early in your pedal chain. I like to use compression. I have a compression pedal on all the time in my setup, but I'm going through a compressor here, and I'm actually going through a compressor in my DAW. You can use compression for a lot of things. A little bit of compression will kind of take away a little bit of pick attack. A lot of compression will take away a lot of pick attack, but also compression will kind of bring out choruses. It'll bring out the sound of your pickups. So if you have really nice pickups, a little compression will really kind of make those things shine. You can use compression as a volume boost. You can use it as kind of a clean boost. If you turn up the gain on it or the volume on it, you can drive amps harder. You can drive distortion pedals harder. Again, it's generally the way, if I had a pedal board, and I don't, but the way I line up internally on things, I just have pedals. So what I'll do is I'll set up the pedals I need to use, which is rare anyway because I'm doing everything in the box most of the time. But I would put, and this is a whole nother topic. You're totally right, it's off topic. But I would go, first thing I would go to would be like a wah pedal, and then a compressor, and then any gain pedals, and then a volume pedal, and then chorus, and then delays, and then reverbs, technically kind of in that order. Any kind of modulation pedal like a tremolo or a chorus or flanger or phase shifter would be right after the volume pedal. You don't want to put the volume pedal necessarily before the gain pedals, because what will happen is if you're pedaling in a swell or something, like if you're doing something like, that, and you have gain pedals, then your signal will be clean and get dirtier as you volume up, rather than having the same consistent tone. I have a digital volume pedal that I can use if I want to have it. I don't really ever do a lot of swells with heavy gain. Most of my swell stuff I'm going to do with, like I'll show you, like, first after the tuner. Yeah, definitely the tuner is great because you can, I forgot about the tuner. Let's see. So like here's a typical swell kind of sound that I might use. pretty swell, exactly. Yarn, 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 yarn. Okay, so, and then the D minor scale we're going to use is pentatonic number 5, here, the bottom one. And that's also going to be at the 7th fret. And if you think about, if you look, it's got that, all the same notes. Hope that helps. All the same fret there at the 10th fret. And that's the top of that D minor pentatonic is the same as the bottom of this one. Okay, now fingering this one, playing this one, it's another one where you could reach out your first finger or position change. So technically you could start this in 8th position, and then on the middle 2 strings you could move to the 7th position. If we're just going to be purist on it, or if we're just going to play it now for just to kind of get the shape under our fingers, we can stick with 7th position playing, and that means playing 8, 10, 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10. Okay, so 8, 10, 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 8, 10, 8, 10, backwards, 10, 8, 10, 8. In some ways, it's kind of a nice pentatonic because it has these nice little boxy snippets. And then we have 10, 7, 10, 7. You could. And then 10, 8, 10, 8 on the bottom. Okay. So if going back to A minor to E minor, so we're going to play this shape to this shape. Okay, and I'm going to just start out with 2 string boxes. I'm playing the two top shapes up there, and I'm just playing the top 2 strings of each one. See the shift? That shift at this. Okay, now the next 2 strings, nothing's going to change. Okay, I'm playing the 2nd and 3rd string on those top 2 pentatonic scales. Okay, now I'm going to jump down to the next one. Okay, next one. Middle's 2 strings. So you hear the chord change and make that change. Take that C note down to a B note. Down to the next 2 strings. So we're going to again have one note change. And this is reminiscent of the top 2 strings of the previous position. Then the bottom 2 strings, we're going to start out with 8, 8, 10, 7, 10. it go to 710, 710. A little muddy down there. Now, again, the progression that I uploaded to the Discord is A minor. It's this one down here without the parenthetical note chord changes. If you add the parenthetical chord changes, which I have on the other MP3 that I uploaded, that would be Black Magic Woman in A minor, which is down a perfect fourth from the original. Okay, so I'm going to move this over, and we're going to go over the A minor. We're not going to do all the shit. We're going to stop here, okay? But what we may do is we may go ahead and do the snippets, the 4-note, 2-string groupings over the whole progression here in a second, okay? But let's get the D minor shapes out of the way. Okay, so again, the A minor is A minor's here, and so we're going to use the top shape and the bottom shape. I mean, the top left and the bottom left. There's no left to right on the bottom one. It's just the one by itself. All right, coffee time. Have you checked out Tom's catalog of instruction videos? I have not. Thank you, Holly. I still need to do a video. I'm going to do a video related to the Paul Davids video from months ago. So I'm going to do a video on the all D string guitar, which is kind of cool. But I just kind of been busy. In fact, I'm going to check my email. Okay, we're good. All right, so we're going to do so here's the thing about this. The A minor is here on top 2 strings, and the D minor is right here too. So we're not going. It's one of those instances where we're not going to change a note. So it's going to be 10 and 8, 8th and 10th fret. Now, anytime I have a whole step like this, I try the chromatic note in between it to see if it works. Not there, but that one works over the D minor because it's the blues tone. So if you get a little bored playing that snippet, and again, if we went to E minor, we'd go down to here. Okay, next 2 strings, we have 7, 9, and 8, 10. And then 7, 10, 8, 10. This one's a little awkward, maybe. You can move it. You can do a position shift if you want. Now, also know that A minor sounds really cool over D minor. A minor pentatonic sounds really cool over a D minor 7 chord. Because you get that second. So it's kind of cool. All right, next, the middle 2 strings. So it's going to be 7, 10, 7, 9, 7, 10, 7, 9, 7, 10, 7, 10. Play that with me. you can combine those two scales and create kind of a hybrid 6-note scale. Now then, the third, fourth and fifth string. Again, we're on the two left scales. And if you remember, this is reminiscent of this A minor to D minor shift. So 7-10, 7-10. 8-10, 7-10. 8-10, 7-10, 7-10, 7-10. Again, I'm on the fifth and the fourth string. Play fourths. That's hard to do on guitar. Pretty low from here, but if we go, the next one is going to be this shape. So it's going to be 8-10, 7-10 to 8-10, 8-10. Okay. 8-10, 8-10 here. So now if we do the whole, I'll play over this a little bit. So we'll start with the top two strings. And so we're gonna have to do all three of the shapes. So the three shapes we have, when we go from, again, the first change is gonna be E minor. We're gonna go A minor to E minor. And then back to the A minor shape. And then we don't change for the D minor shape. What is I? What? I definitely, I hold my pick different ways. We've talked about this in the past. If I'm doing a rhythm thing, if I'm playing rhythm, particularly if I'm playing like a funk rhythm or an acoustic strumming rhythm, I will kind of expose a lot of the pick, hold it loosely. I usually do use a tripod though, like I have 2 fingers and a thumb. Some people use the side of their first finger. I've never really felt comfortable doing that. A lot of the fast, really heavy metal dudes do that. But I generally kind of hold tripod and then if I'm strumming, we get rid of the delays here and the reverb. And the primal tap. Okay, so Yeah, so if I'm doing kind of a funky thing, or strumming, you know, I always use the, when I was teaching clinics, I would go up to someone in the front row and I would say, okay, now take the pick out of my hand, and they just go boom, and it just comes right out. I'm barely holding on to it because I use heavy picks, and I want the sound of if you hold a heavy pick tight and you strum, you might, it's like a fish hook. You might snag a string coming up. You know, it can be kind of weird, but so the strumming thing, yeah, I hold it pretty loose. If I'm soloing, then I choke down and I hold it really tight. So then I would take the, you know, person in the front row and say, okay, now take it out of my hand. They can't even get a grip on it. So that's kind of, but yeah, basically hold it like that. So it's basically what's called like a tripod. Some people use 2 fingers. Some, like I said, some people hold a thumb against the so let's see here. Go back to Metheny, and I'm going to put the there we go. Okay, so we have the pentatonic number 2 shape for the A minor, and then we're going to go to this pentatonic number 4 shape for the E minor, and then we're going to go to the pentatonic number 5 shape for the D minor. So it's going to be a lot of time we're going to be spending here, and not so much there. So here we go. And I can use my fingers too. Thumb. And then I could do hybrid picking too, which is pick and fingers. Now let me move down to the 2nd and 3rd string. Now we have the same kind of thing going to the E minor. We just stay there. 7, 9, 8, 10. But then on the D minor we go 7, 10. Now, Flort was asking about the theory behind these scales, and so basically, when you're soloing, you kind of have, I think you can kind of break it down into two choices. You can either solo over the overarching key of the song, or of the section that you're soloing over. And in this case, the kind of the overarching key of it is A minor. The 3 chords that A minor, D minor, and E minor are all in the key of A minor. Relative to C major, all 3 of those chords are in the key of C major as well. So you could technically play in C major, but what's happening when you do that is you might emphasize notes that don't work really well once the chord changes. And so that's where you have the other option of playing over a progression is you can play over each individual chord. That might be more common in bebop or a lot of times you'll see if you open up their jazz standard book, and their bebop things, they'll have these little brackets, and like if you look at giant steps, it starts out with a B major chord, but immediately goes to the key of G so it's 2 beats of B major, and then it goes to D7. So, is it? And then it goes to kind of a what would that be? Kind of a B13 to a E major 7, E flat major 7. Sorry. So we're in, and so you might see someone's book if they had giant steps out, they might bracket the first 2 beats and put the key of B. They might bracket the next 4 beats, which overlaps one bar to the next bar, and put G over it, and then they might do the next 6 beats and use E flat major. So so that you would be playing at least in the key, and in that sense, in that context, you're actually playing you're using keys instead of playing over the changes. You're not really considering the changes as much as you're considering the keys that the changes are in. So a lot of guys that play over giant steps will be like B, they'll be in B for 1 second. And then they'll be in E flat. All I'm doing there is I'm just playing the 1, 2, 3, 5 of each chord in giant steps. Over the B chord, B, C sharp, D sharp, F sharp, and then over the D chord I'm playing D, E, F sharp, A, and over the G chord I'm playing G, A, B. It's an exercise more than anything. I wouldn't play over giant steps necessarily that way, but it's a way to kind of get the chord progression, in your head and under your fingers. Okay, that's an extreme example, but if I were soloing over a progression like this, which is again basically the first 8 bars of Black Magic Woman in A minor, I could purely play an A minor pentatonic. And then I can over the E chord I can highlight that E and the G. Over the D minor chord I can highlight the D and the A maybe, or something within the A minor pentatonic scale. I could use A minor blues. Now the cool thing that you discover there is that over the D minor chord, that D sharp, which shouldn't work over a D minor chord, that D sharp actually, which is the flat 5 in the key of A minor, sounds kind of cool, mainly because it kind of is giving homage to the fact that we're playing kind of a blues 5. And it's also true in the blues if we're playing over a dominant 7 chord. Now over the E minor, it works-ish, But the cool thing about that blues note in A minor, it is the leading tone to the E chord. So if I go to the I can, those three notes in the blues, A minor blues, are kind of cool over the E minor if you kind of it helps you set up that E, that root. So, hey Vibes, what's going on? Good to see you. Yeah, basically Black Magic Woman's A minor blues. The only thing you could do if it make it a little more interesting maybe is to make it play an E7 chord. But the way Santana wrote this progression was he goes 1 to 5 to 1 to 4, kind of backwards a typical blues progression where you go 1 and then 4 and then 1. So it goes to the 4, it goes to the 5 before it goes to the 4, which is different. And so again, if you're going to play one scale over all this, you could probably get away with A minor scale. You could totally get away with A minor scale. You could get away with A minor pentatonic, and you could probably be fine with A minor blues. Interestingly, if we add all the notes together that's in these three pentatonics, the A minor pentatonic, the E minor pentatonic, and the D minor pentatonic, we get a C major scale or an A minor scale. All right. So if we look, we got A, C, D, E, and G. Well, if we add the notes that are different from E minor, we get a B. So now we have A, B, C, D, E, G. And if we add the notes that are different from A minor to D minor, it's an F is the different note. So now we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So within that A minor scale or C major scale or whatever is every note we need to make the chords work. Oh, E minor. Okay, so you'll even notice that in Stairway to Heaven, the chord progression is A minor. It really only spends 2 beats on A minor, and technically it's kind of like 3 beats on G and 3 beats on F. So when Jimmy Page is playing that note there, that's why he goes to that F natural instead of going to, that's how I taught it when I first started teaching it, and I thought I knew how to play it way back when I was 15, 16 years old, which was forever ago. It's just like, how long? That's so long ago. I'll be 64 next month. When I'm 64, boom, boom. Oh, that's right. You're right, Gary. Thank you. It actually makes more sense now that I think about it. Yeah, that now Peter Green passed away. His estate gets some money, I'm assuming. But then what I wanted you to do was start to see that you can use different pentatonic shapes to accommodate the different chord changes in this progression, for example. And but I didn't want you taking this, over the E minor going up here, and then to the D minor going here, and then A minor going here. I wanted you to just play in a position. So if you get these down like these, you can do a screen grab of this. Oh yeah, you don't see the red line around that. Let me click on it. Okay. Oh no, I don't want to click on that either. Dang it. Go away. Okay. You can do a screen grab of that, so you have all 3 of them for this week's practice if you want to jam along with the jam track that I did last week. But you can play this without having to change positions. You don't even have to look at your hands. And then you can throw in the A minor scale or C major scale. Blue scale. Back to the A minor scale, then A minor pentatonic. A minor major or A minor diatonic scale. Back to A minor pentatonic, A minor blues. D minor pentatonic. Okay, so that's kind of the thinking behind these lessons right now is to kind of position playing, and you can also think in terms of caged method too. That A minor pentatonic right here, the one in the corner, that's built around the C major. Okay. The bar, C major bar chord, it's E form. You slide all the way up to the 8th fret. If you're thinking about A minor shapes, the minor shapes, then it would be this D minor, that D minor shape there. Okay, open, top 4 strings. Get rid of the lambda bar there. Open D string, 2nd fret, 3rd fret, 1st finger, right? Okay. We'll play that with remove the 1st finger, play it with your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th finger. And then go up a fret, get that 1st finger here on the bar here. Keep going all the way up to A, and that's kind of the A minor shape that you can visualize when you're playing over that scale. Then the next scale, the E minor one, the caged shape that we're playing over there is the A minor shape down here. So we go A minor, right? Not the bottom strings, the 5th string, open, 2nd, 2nd, 1st, open. Now do that with your 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers. And then go up a fret, bar, up a fret, B minor, C minor, C sharp minor, D minor, E flat minor, there's E minor. And that's, if you play this and you add that 5th note there, it's a little muddy there in this room because my room really likes that B note. But there, if I play that, I've got literally 50% of the notes in this E minor pentatonic shape. Remember that? So like if I play an A minor chord, I've technically got 50% of the notes of the A minor pentatonic. You play pretty much any major or minor 6-string bar chord, you're gonna find that to be true. Okay, and then the D minor shape, again, the D major shape would be this G form, but I don't really play, G minor like this. That's a 4-finger chord, which means we can't really slide it up. But if you could, it would look like this, and that's D minor. So you get that D, F, A, D. You can do that, but I don't have enough fingers, okay? But that's the shape that's built around this minor pentatonic. And we talked about seeing the shapes from the major scale, and from the major chords perspective. We did that long time ago. Probably the first lessons when I talked about the cage method, we probably took it. I can't imagine I would spend weeks or days on just talking about the chord shapes. I'm sure I talked about the pentatonic scales. Okay, I got all these picks that are everywhere. Let's see. They keep going under my keyboard. I ordered these picks. I didn't do what are they called? I got, an ad on Instagram, and I bought the picks. They're okay. They seem to be well made, very well made. I don't know if I have a point for them. What's the name of the company? They had a nice box. It all came very well packaged. Yeah, this was it here. I thought about doing a review on them, but I just couldn't find anything there that I was like totally like on fire about. So I didn't want to do a bad review. And it came with these string tree things, which Rombo, ROMBO. I mean, it didn't floor me, and I think I got like, I mean, shoot, my normal these picks now these gravity picks are $8 a pop. It's getting ridiculous. I don't know that I think I may switch back to my old picks because I have so many of those. But the yeah, so I still got some still on the cards. You can see here. I haven't taken them off. So it came with quite a few. I think I got, I don't know, 30 picks for $30 or something. I don't know. It wasn't that much. And a wide variety. Because, me, I'm always looking for weird ways to attack a string. And so anytime I can, now, of course, talk about expensive picks. This one was $35 for one pick. And it's a blue chip pick. And damn it, it sounds pretty good. Okay, I got picks under here. I got to grab. Okay, you got my Wiegand bluegrass pick. Those are $15 a pop too. So picks do make a difference. This is the exact pick that the Edge uses. The West German nylon picks. Yeah, and I'll use that to get a good scrapey sound because that's. I don't even know what this pick. Oh, this is a Martin pick I got at the NAMM show. So probably won't use that for anything. I don't like the matte finish picks because they're kind of scrapey sounding. I like either a very rough, bumpy texture or a very smooth texture, one or the other. I do like this Wiegand jazz pick, which I think these are now $30 for two or something like that. You're getting up there. The Gypsy Jazz ones. I like those a lot. All right. Let's see. Oh, we're Peter Green. That's true. Oh, interesting. I did not know that, Sam. See, I knew I could count on you to have some information. Or at least to look at Wikipedia. Yeah, Catherine, that's kind of my whole idea is that you can make a slight change one note in your scale, and you're in a whole nother scale. It's kind of cool. And you like I said, you can always add all those notes together and create a diatonic scale that works. Or just add two of the scales together and create kind of a 6-note scale that works over the two chords. So, yes. Gary, Beth and I watched it. Maybe it was because I was watching it with Beth. I thought it was okay. I think if you're a really big Zeppelin fan, and I don't think I'm a really big Zeppelin fan. I mean, I couldn't say I'm a really big Zeppelin fan. Though I love Zeppelin, and Zeppelin was hugely influential on me and every guitar player that I like. I like the interview portions, and for me, the best part was watching their faces as they listened to a Bonham interview that they hadn't heard before, that nobody had heard. That was pretty cool because John didn't really do many interviews, and so watching their faces as he talked about the history of the band and things like that was the best part for me. The long protracted out like jams. I forgot what a jam band they were. And I understand how, like in Britain originally, when they first popped on the scene in Britain, they were like, what is this? And they got big in the U.S. and they intentionally, Jimmy Page intentionally didn't write singles. Like, was it Whole Lotta Love has that breakdown in the middle where it's just this kind of echo-laden Yeah, that makes sense. That echo laden, delays and uh, singing and drum percussion stuff in the middle of it to prevent it from being a single, which I thought was interesting. They really and that was part of the reason why they didn't catch on in England, because again, probably still to this day, the English radio stations are government owned, and they only have so many of them. But they had pirate radio stations there. But in the U.S., you had around the time Zeppelin was coming on the scene is when they started album-oriented rock stations, where they would literally play full cuts, album cuts, or they would play whole sides. Exactly. Yep. So, I forgot that we watched that. But again, I think part of it was I was kind of speeding through it a little bit when they started jamming. I was looking for any time where they were talking, just because I knew Beth was getting a little bored, And in hindsight, or if you have to, like for example, I never understood Jimi Hendrix. Like Jimi Hendrix died literally the year I started playing guitar. So anything I heard of Jimi Hendrix after the fact was after I started hearing other guitar players that maybe weren't even 1/millionth as groundbreaking as him, but were cleaner players. I got into Steve Howe from Yes, although I feel like now I think he's kind of a sloppy player. I always felt like Jimmy Page was kind of sloppy too. But, then I got into studio musicians, I got into jazz and bebop, and I kind of became a snob. And it wasn't until right before I moved to California that I started getting back into pop or new wave music, and because I found out through taking one guitar lesson back when I visited here. I met a guy named Carl Verheyen. I took one lesson from him, and he had like the Police Synchronicity album on his turntable. I'm like, why are you listening to that pop stuff? Yeah, I'm not kidding. And he goes, are you kidding? You know how much money I make sounding like Andy Summers? And I go, who's Andy Summers? He goes, well, that's the guitar player from the Police, And it's like people want me to sound like him, and that's what I get paid to do, is sound like other guitar players a lot of times. And so that was when I started listening to the music that most people were listening to, because no one's going to ever ask you to play like Alan Holdsworth, because then no one's going to know who that is. But they might ask you to play like Eddie Van Halen, or they might ask you to play like Randy Rhoads, or they might ask you to play like Steve Lukather, or Andy Summers, or George Harrison, or whatever. And I was a huge Beatles fan. Before I got my guitar, I was really into the Beatles. Yep, WNET. I remember WNET. We had, we still have KLOS. But there was another one, KMET, we had in LA. Probably the same owners, KMET. And then it got bought. All the stations in LA get bought by Mexican stations. There was a period of time where every time, it was without fail, every month when my new favorite station would become a Mexican station. I was like, dang it. And to be honest, with LA is 60% Latino, my city is 60% Latino. So it's marketing, it makes complete marketing sense. WNEU, well, that makes sense. New York, yeah. KLOS would be the same thing, loss, right? So maybe NEW was the same as KLOS, which is first letters of Los Angeles, which I never noticed until now, which is stupid, but I just thought, KLOS just became, and the really big station that I listened to a lot was K-Rock, and K-Rock was so good in the 80s. Almost every band that became big in the 80s started out on K-Rock. If they didn't get played on K-Rock, they weren't going anywhere. But like Duran Duran and Adam Ant and Aha and, Talking Heads and, it was kind of the MTV station for people that didn't have MTV, I guess. So MTV launched all those bands too, but K-Rock would play them before MTV would. We had a DJ named Rodney Bingenheimer. And he would play, a lot of times would play local bands, but he was kind of, him and Richard Blade would launch so many. Richard Blade was from London, and he was a DJ here at K Rock and KROQ, and it still exists, but it mostly plays like Blink 182 songs. And I mean, you know, I first heard Radiohead on K Rock back in the '90s, but they haven't broken a new band in probably 20 years, to be honest. My friend, he has a band called Capital Cities, and they had a song called "Safe and Sound." And "Safe and Sound" was crazy because it was a record you could hear on K. Let's see, what's the pop station? KISS or KIIS KISS FM, which is pop, and then K Rock, which is the alternative station, and then the other station. There was 3 stations, and the other one was kind of a blend. And they're all 3 exist still. See ya. Okay, no worries. Thank you, Bruce. Oh yeah, Sam, I'm rooting for the Pacers. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, I've been a Pacer fan. I mean, I was a Celtics fan because of Larry Bird, but I've always been a Pacer fan. I've been to more Pacer games than any other team in the NBA. I remember I've been a Pacer fan since elementary school, 1972. Billy Keller came to my elementary school, and he was like a short white guy in the Pacers. But the Pacers won the ABA championship 3 years in a row. Like, now, not saying much because I think the ABA was only 8 teams at that point, but they had George McGinnis, and that's probably part of the reason. George McGinnis is probably the reason why they got brought into the NBA. Because I think only 4 of the teams in the ABA got brought to the NBA, and I think the Nuggets is one of them. The Pacers are the other, and then was it the Knicks where they won also? Somebody look that up. Stan, you probably just know it. I probably won't watch the game, though. A, because I have work to do. Also, B, it makes me nervous. I'd rather just watch the game. Or if they win, I'll watch the highlights later. If they lose, I'll just be like, okay. In fact, if they lose, it's over, I think. I don't think they can. I mean, they can. Pacers have been doing crazy stuff. And their bench is super deep. They've been wearing out their opponents. Yeah, first NBA championship ever. Technically, Oklahoma City doesn't have one, but they had one when they were the Seattle Supersonics in '79. So technically, I think they probably have a banner hanging there. But the Pacers, yeah, that would be crazy. I mean, the Pacers got to the semis last year, right, and lost to the Celtics, who went on to win the whole thing. Halliburton's crazy. They also had another player that they traded, or who left, and I thought he was going to take them to far, but he ended up leaving the team, and I was bummed. And Halliburton doesn't score many points necessarily, but you can count on him in the clutch. So Julius Erving, that's right. The 76ers, though, were they part of the the Nets? Nets from Long Island. So it was the Knicks, not the Knicks. It was the Nets that were the ABA team that came over. So I remember the Kentucky Colonels. There was an ABA team called the Kentucky Colonels. Other ABA teams. I mean, like I said, at the end, I think there were only like 8 teams or something. They probably, yeah, 67 to 76 is when the merger was. Number of teams, they had 11. Dang, in 76, they only had, 75, 76, they only had 7 teams. Yeah, it was just not. I didn't know about the LA Stars or the Anaheim Amigos. I don't remember either one of those. The Utah Stars. Okay, so they were the ones that went on. I mean, I remember I never went to an ABA game, although I do remember the red, white, and blue basketballs. We peaked early. We had 28 early, but we're down. We're just talking about basketball. Yeah, there's the Kentucky Colonels, Denver Nuggets, yep, Denver Rockets, Denver Larks, Kansas City unnamed, hilarious, original. The Miami Floridians, the Minnesota Muskies, New Orleans Buccaneers. I don't remember any of these. The Memphis Pros, Baltimore Close. I don't remember. Memphis Sounds, Memphis Tams. I don't remember any of those. New Jersey Nets. Okay, that was for sure one of them that I remember. The Washington Capitals. So I wonder if they went on to become the Squires. Dang. Prior to merger. Oh, they folded before the merger. Folded. Joined the NBA. Okay, so the Nets. Okay, they joined. Let's see. So who else joined? The Denver, yeah, and then the Pacers. They were always the Pacers. That's interesting. Well, because of pace cars. The hockey team's called the Racers. The Spurs. Okay, San Antonio Spurs. They were the other one. So there was 4 that joined. Yeah, that's it. Just 4. Crazy. Bobby Leonard was the coach. Oh my gosh, that's right. Oh, they won 3 out of 4 years. Yeah, I mean, but it just wasn't that many teams. So, Dave Barry, yeah, played under the underhand. Well, I think if you go back, that's how they all shot foul shots. And then he was the last one to shoot that way. I think it was Dave Barry. Even after everyone had adopted. Yep. Oh, thanks, Sam. You totally. Yeah, I remember the Spirit of St. Louis, and I remember the Kentucky Colonels. I don't remember the San Antonio Spurs. That's so weird. They must not. Julius Erving was in the league, but he got picked up eventually by Philly. Anyway, all right. Well, we've devolved to talking about basketball. It's gotten pretty far off topic. Okay, so hopefully I'll see you next Monday. Beth gets back in town the night before, on Sunday night, I think. So I'm not sure if she's got plans for us or not, but in the meantime, I'll be working, and yeah, I think everything's lined up. I'm not. What day is the 4th of July on? Oh, it's midweek, I think, if I remember now, or Thursday or something like that. You got a basketball, Jones. I can't even, Sam, I can't even remember who won the NCAA football championship this year. Who won that? See, I know you know. I've got a basketball Jones. Oh yeah, I don't know. Who was that? Was it a one-hit wonder? Was it the theme song for the ABA? No, they wouldn't say Jones. That wouldn't have been a thing. You wouldn't. It's so funny the stuff that. I mean, who was it? We Want to Turn You On or whatever. It was like the first corporation to actually use a drug reference and a sex reference in their advertising. Ask Bob. You don't know Ask Bob. Is that the name of the band? I don't know. Ask Bob. All right. Well, thank you everybody for hanging out. We'll move up the neck and do the next position. If you're playing acoustic, you should be good. At the 10th fret, you might have a little bit of trouble getting up into that 13th fret, but then we'll try to bring it all down to the first position for the next set. So, yep. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Holly. Catherine, good to see you. As always, 6'9", Gary. Dennis, thank you for helping out. Bruce is gone, but thank you, Bruce. And Bob, thank you again for helping out. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye, Mini Vibes.